Hello dear viewers, welcome to this edition of the news in English here on Rwanda Television. My name is Serge Nhori. We'll start with the headlines. Visit Rwanda and Paris Saint-Germain have renewed their transformative partnership through to 2028, building upon the successful collaboration launched back in 2019. Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente has presided over the official launch of the findings from the 7th Integrated Household Living Conditions Survey here in Rwanda. And on the international scene, the UN says fighting in South Sudan has killed nearly 200 people since March and is warning that the country is on the brink of civil war. Now the details. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Visit Rwanda and Paris Saint-Germain have renewed their transformative partnership through 2028, building on a successful collaboration launched in 2019. The extended agreement amplifies Rwanda's global presence and reinforces its role as a hub for youth development, creativity and economic opportunity. We have the details with Adam Squizera.
The Rwanda Development Board RDB first launched a partnership deal with Arsenal, followed a year later by a similar deal with French club Paris Saint-Germain, a partnership that has since been renewed up to 2028. Both agreements are centered around the Visit Rwanda campaign, initially signed in 2019 to promote Rwandan tourism. The Chief Executive Officer of Rwanda Development Board, Jean-Guy Africa, stated that the partnerships have significantly contributed to the growth of the tourism sector and the promotion of young sports talent in Rwanda. Since the start of the partnership, millions of fans around the world have discovered Rwanda through immersive storytelling, broadcast visibility, and unique fan experiences. From matchday features and brandings at Parc des Princes to thousands of cups of Rwandan coffee served to the supporters in Paris, the collaboration has connected global audiences to Rwanda's rich culture, nature, and warmth. At the heart of the partnership is a shared commitment to the youth. PSG Academy, Rwanda has provided over 400 young Rwandans with elite football training, education and mentorship. In 2022, Rwanda's Youth Athene Academy team brought home international recognition by winning the PSG Academy World Cup, showcasing the nation's rising talent and the power of long-term investment in young people. As part of this continued focus, the renewed partnership will expand Rwanda's global presence as a premier traveler and culture destination through greater visibility, including placement of Visit Rwanda logo on PSG's US-based academy's training kits and on the sleeves of the PSG men's first team jerseys at the FIFA Club World Cup in 2025. The tourism sector also experienced steady growth, generating $647 million in revenue, a 4.3% increase from the previous year. A significant part of this expansion came from guerrilla tourism, which saw revenues rise by 27%, reinforcing Rwanda's role as a leader in sustainable tourism and conservation. Rwanda welcomed over 1.3 million visitors, as well as hosting 115 high-profile events, welcoming 52,315 delegates, and reinforcing its position as a premiumized destination, generating $84.8 million in revenue. This annual report also stated that this year, PSG players featured in a promotional video showcasing Rwandan coffee garnered over 2.7 million views. Visitor numbers reached to 138,000, generating $38.8 million, up from $35.8 million in 2023. Adam Squizera, RTV News.
Thank you, Adams. Now, according to the survey on household living conditions here in Rwanda, the country has made significant strides towards poverty reduction, having decreased by 12.4 percentage points over the past 7 years. That's a reduction in poverty. William Evans Mutabazi with more.
The survey on household living conditions in Rwanda, EICV7, showed that the poverty rate has decreased to 27.4% in 2024 from 39.8% in 2017. Extreme poverty has also declined in the country, reaching 5.4% from 11.3% in 2017. According to the Right Honorable Dr. Edouard Ngirente, these figures
than just statistics. They represent real improvements in the lives of our people. Data were collected according to the international standards in collaboration with our partners to ensure their accuracy and reliability. I must come back to 3 key indicators that strongly reflect the improvement in the well-being of our people, of Rwandans. The first interesting one is the poverty reduction, where the poverty rate decreased from 39% to 27.4% in 7 years, from 2017 to 2024. The second one is about the extreme poverty, which has dropped from 11.3% to 5.4%, also in a period of 7 years. The third one, which is a very encouraging figure, and resulting from the 2 previous ones, is the nominal figure of 1.5 million Rwandans who have been lifted out of poverty. That's very interesting. Much as we have seen these good achievements, we are mindful that we still have a lot to do in our development journey to become a poverty-free Rwanda. We want every family in every corner of Rwanda to benefit from economic development.
According to the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Yusuf Murangwa, the survey showed significant reduction in poverty and extreme poverty, but the goal is not merely to reduce poverty, but to eradicate it entirely.
Ideally, we should not have extreme poverty at all. Ideally, we should not have extreme poverty at all. We see poverty and extreme poverty reducing in a substantive way. We see access to utilities, electricity, water, internet services, and others improving, especially in rural areas and for those most in need. We see inequality improving, implying most people, especially the poorest, also benefiting strongly from the progress that we see. The second part is about persistent challenges and what we need to do going forward. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning will quickly internalize these findings, engage all stakeholders, and adjust interventions accordingly to make sure that going forward we sustain the progress that we see.
According to the Director General of the National Institute of Statistics, this survey is special, and this is how.
It is done throughout the whole year, and there is a reason to that. We want to see the various variations in how people's livings are. For example, for those who depend on agriculture, what they earn, how they live during harvest, when they have harvested, might be different from when they are out of harvest. So it's very important to see all those seasons of the year. The other second thing is we visit households 5 times. That's very unique. There's no other survey where we have to visit the household several times. We do that because we want as much as possible to understand various dynamics. The approach of the survey is that we look at what people's consumption is. That consumption could be what they have purchased, it could be what they have got from their farms, it could even be what they've been offered to.
The new figures from the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda indicate that an individual living in extreme poverty is unable to spend more than 432,000 Rwandan francs on food per year, while a person categorized as poor spends below 127,000 Rwandan francs per year. 10 districts in the western and southern provinces are home to extreme poverty, while 16 districts are below the national poverty line. The western province has the highest poverty rate in the country at 37.4%, followed by the southern province at 34.7%, the eastern province at 26.8%, the northern province at 20.2%, and Kigali City at 9.1%. Nyamagabe district has the highest level of poverty at 51.4%, while Nyarugenge district has the lowest at 6%. William Evans, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, William. Now, the 7th Integrated Household Living Conditions Survey has revealed that during the 7 years of the first phase of the National Strategy for Transformation, or NST1, government-led development efforts significantly improved the living standards of the population, as we just saw. Various government institutions have noted that the findings of the survey are providing better planning and implementation for NST2 moving forward. Adams Kwizera with more on that.
Obviously share with you the findings.
This survey shows notable progress in key areas of development. Nationwide, access to electricity has risen from 34% in 2017 to 72% in 2024. Households with access to improved drinking water sources increased from 87% to 90% over the same period. Additionally, 68% of households using basic drinking water sources take less than 30 minutes to access them, while about 21% still spend more than 30 minutes. These socioeconomic indicators also show significant progress in digital connectivity. Mobile phone ownership rose from 67% in 2017 to 85% in 2024, while access to internet increased from 17% to 30% over the same period. In the agriculture sector, the use of inorganic fertilizers increased significantly, with 65% of households using them in 2024 compared to 38% in 2017. In education, the percentage of students completing primary school rose from 31% in 2017 to 42% in 2024, reflecting continued progress in access to and completion of basic education. The survey also highlights progress in environmental health, showing that the use of clean cooking fuels increased from 1% in 2017 to 5% in 2024. The Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Yusuf Murangwa, noted that findings of this survey will inform the better planning and implementation of the upcoming NST2 program.
But finally, from what we've seen, progress was strong enough to mitigate the shocks. And Right Honourable Prime Minister, we are happy with the findings of the survey. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning will quickly internalize these findings, engage all stakeholders, and adjust interventions accordingly to make sure that going forward we sustain the progress that we see.
The Minister of Local Government, Dr. Patrice Mujenzi, stated that the government will prioritize areas where gaps remain, particularly in provinces and districts that continue to show persistent poverty indicators. It was found that some districts, particularly in the western and southern provinces, are lagging behind. Then, in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning and the Office of National Institute of Statistics (NICR), we will put in efforts to help citizens from these provinces access various programs and projects aimed at lifting them out of poverty. Various institutions note that while progress has been made, the figures could have been even higher if not for challenges such as COVID-19 pandemic, global conflicts, and the impact of climate change, all of which has disrupted some government programs. Analysts of the survey emphasize the need for increased investment in the agriculture sector, which remains the main source of livelihood for a large portion of the population. Adams Kwizera, RwandaTV News.
Thank you again, Adams, for that report. Now, the frequent increase in the price of cooking gas is said to play a major role in limiting the growth of households using it. This was highlighted by people from various backgrounds as the latest Household Living Conditions Survey released by the National Institute of Statistics on Wednesday shows that the proportion of households using gas for cooking rose from 1% in 2017 to 5% in 2024. Under the first phase of the National Strategy for Transformation, that is NST1, which spanned from 2017 to 2024, the government of Rwanda had set a target to reduce the use of firewood-based fuels from 83.3% to 42%. One of the key strategies to achieve this goal was to increase the number of households using gas for cooking. Residents interviewed noted that the rising cost of cooking gas discourages many who would otherwise adopt it. The Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Yusuf Murangwa, has stated that the government has plans to introduce subsidies on cooking gas in order to boost its use among households. Environmental experts point out that the use of biomass-based fuels such as firewood contributes significantly to air pollution. Increasing the number of households using gas for cooking is considered a key strategy in the country's broader efforts to combat climate change. Rwanda is committed to reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 38% come the year 2030, a plan that is expected to require an $11 billion funding plan. Now, patients receiving care at the Kibogora Level 2 Teaching Hospital, that's in Nyamasheke District, have expressed satisfaction with the recent introduction of laparoscopic surgery services at the facility, describing it as a significant improvement. This marks the first time such a procedure has been carried out at the hospital. The surgery now takes just 30 minutes, whereas it used to take as much as 2 hours using traditional methods that required a large incision. Patients have welcomed the introduction of the service, citing reduced pain, faster recovery, and less time spent in the hospital. The director of Kibogora Hospital has noted that the new service will enhance the quality of care provided to patients and ease the pressure on surgical services. Kibogora Hospital serves more than 5,000 patients per month, with 300 to 400 undergoing surgical procedures. It has now become a referral center for all 7 hospitals in the Western Province, which send patients in need of surgery to Kibogora. The French ambassador to Rwanda, His Excellency Antoine Anfray, has stressed that France is not a safe haven for individuals who participated in the genocide against the Tutsi here in Rwanda. He made the remarks on Wednesday during a commemoration event organized by the French embassy in honor of its former Rwandan staff members who were killed during the genocide. Ambassador Anfray read out the names of those who were working in French services here in Rwanda and were killed in 1994. Survivors from the families of those victims expressed appreciation for the remembrance ceremony, while also urging France to do more in the pursuit of justice. Ambassador Anfray emphasized that remembering the victims of the genocide is crucial and that France is committed to doing so with justice in mind. The survivors stressed that the international community's failure to intervene during the genocide should serve as a lesson encouraging Rwandans to strive for self-reliance. The ambassador also pointed out the growing concern of genocide denial and distortion, saying that the international community must take a firm stand against such actions. So far, 17 individuals who worked in French services here in Rwanda have been confirmed to have been killed during the genocide committed against the Tutsi, though investigations are ongoing to determine whether others have yet to be identified. The Umwarimu Sacco Cooperative has announced plans to launch a new agency banking system aimed at addressing the challenges that teachers and parents face in accessing its financial services nearby. This new approach comes in response to a recent directive from the Ministry of Education, which reminded districts, school heads, parents and teachers that all education-related payments must be processed exclusively through Umwarimu Sacco. However, some parents have raised concerns about the limited number and distant locations of Sacco branches. Laurence Wambaje, the Director General of Umwarimu Sacco, has assured that this issue will soon be resolved.
As you say, we have been serving teachers as our members, but now we are including also parents that are required to pay school fees through Umwarimu Sacco. So this requires to improve our service through digital channels. Especially, we want to add on the existing channels the agency banking, which will be an added value or an addition to what has been in place, like using on counter channel, using a Momo channel, but we want also to use agency banking, which we think will be another solution to overcome the existing challenges or the existing claims we are receiving from parents or from members who are not able to use phones or who want to have a proof that they have paid the school fees.
She also explained why it is crucial for teachers and parents to work with Umwarimu Sacco, emphasizing the cooperative's role in supporting education sector stakeholders. Founded in 2006 and officially licensed to offer financial services in 2008, Umwarimu Sacco now has a membership of approximately 160,000 people.
Nyiri muto arababwiraga data bati ntabwo wagira umukamo mwinshi utunze inka imwe, ariko nigeze acika intege. Mama akinjira mu bucuruzi hari abamubwiraga bati ntabwo watera imbere udakorera mu iduka rigezweho, ariko ntibyamusubije inyuma, yakoranaga umwete. Njye muri kaminuza hari abanshidikanyagaho bavuga ko ntashobora kaminuza naturuka mu muryango wifashije, ariko byaragiye nanditse amateka mashya. Igihe cyo gutera ishema umuryango wanjye kigeze, bamwe bakomeje kumbwira bati ntabwo watera umuryango wawe ibyishimo n'ishema, ariko narabishoboye. Hari abakekaga ko nasigira umurage ukomeye abankomokaho, ariko ubu mfite uruganda rutunganya amata. Banki ya Kigali yabaye umufatanyabikorwa wanjye mu rugendo rwose, inzozi zanjye ziba impamo. Bigereho.
Mvangiye kukubarira rimwe kabiri gatatu itugwamo. So, rimwe kabiri gatatu gwamo. One girl.
Kuwa mbere kanda akanyenyeri gatatu kane gatanu akanyenyeri kabiri urwego maze nawe ugwemo.
Ndanezerewe umunezero nsaba umutima, ndakora akazi kanjye ndacatinga, data ntizishira, enda nawe gwamo.
Wikwisondeka.
Welcome back, and now a look at international news. The UN is warning that fighting in South Sudan has killed nearly 200 people since March and that the country is on the verge of war. The violence has also displaced 125,000 people. Tensions between the president and vice president have been growing for weeks, and fierce battles have broken out in parts of the oil-rich Upper Nile state. Mediation teams from the region and the African Union have been denied access to the vice president, who is under house arrest. Al Jazeera with the details.
The capital city is relatively calm, but many people here are concerned about other parts of South Sudan, which are becoming increasingly volatile. Since a revitalized peace agreement was signed in 2018 to end the civil war, conflicts have mainly been intercommunal.
What we've seen more recently is that conflict has not taken on a direct political nature and manifest really between clashes involving the uniformed elements of both the principal parties. Our absolute fear and anxiety is that the country will relapse into open war.
Regional leaders worry tensions between President Salva Kiir and First Vice President Riek Machar could lead to another major conflict. Machar is accused of planning a rebellion against the government and is under house arrest.
In 2013, people started calculating games towards the election of 2015 as a process for transfer of power or secession within the leadership of the SPLM. And it went rough. Why it went rough? Because the dialogue and the concept of power didn't gain any internal party consensus. And this is what we're paying the price for until now.
The world's youngest country has never held elections. It gained independence 14 years ago. Some critics blame President Kiir.
You will never risk giving power to somebody while he is still alive. You see, the problem of Kiir is that he is, in fact, he is afraid of accountability. He doesn't want to be accountable, and that is why he has made it difficult for the agreement to be implemented.
Tensions between Kiir's Dinka people, the country's largest ethnic group, and Mashar's Nuer community still exist. Since gaining independence from neighboring Sudan in 2011, this country has had 2 civil wars. Nearly 400,000 people were killed. President Salva Kiir has said and keeps saying he will not lead the country into another war. People here say they hope politicians don't put tribal and personal interests ahead of South Sudan's. Hadi Mutas, Al Jazeera, Juba.
Chinese President Xi Jinping has met with Malaysia's King Sultan Ibrahim in Kuala Lumpur as part of a regional push to shore up Beijing's trade relations. President Xi has hailed what he has called a new golden era with Malaysia. The diplomatic stop on Wednesday marks the second leg in Xi's 3-nation tour, which also includes Vietnam and Cambodia, and comes amid sharp tariffs imposed by the United States that are reshaping the global economic landscape. Al Jazeera once more.
Welcomed into Malaysia, the second stop on Chinese President Xi Jinping's mission to bolster relations with Asian neighbors amid his country's deepening trade war with the US. Although not subject to the same punishing tariffs as China, Malaysia initially faced tariffs of 24% on all exports. Now temporarily suspended, it seems to have pushed Malaysia into seeking closer economic ties with its biggest trading partner.
Amid this turbulence, China has been a rational, strong and reliable partner. Malaysia values this consistency. Malaysia will remain an unwavering and principled friend to China.
And China is keen to find as many friends as it can in its looming trade war.
China and Malaysia will stand with countries in the region to combat the undercurrents of geopolitical and camp-based confrontation, as well as the countercurrents of unilateralism, protectionism, and together we will safeguard the bright prospects of our Asian family.
Malaysia has deep cultural and economic ties with China going back decades, and Xi first visited here in 2013, just after becoming president. Since then, Malaysia has benefited from extensive infrastructure investments through China's so-called Belt and Road Initiative.
So I think China has always been having this diplomacy around this region, especially with the Belt and Road initiatives. They've done like mega projects around the region. And I think, especially with this Trump coming in, their focus is fairly shifted towards this region.
China and Malaysia signed multiple agreements, including collaboration in the high-tech sector, which is subject to harsh U.S. trade taxes. It follows a similar show of solidarity on President Xi's first stop in Vietnam, a former foe now united in its resistance to U.S. tariffs.
Beijing has faced problems forging closer ties with many of its Asian neighbors, given the fears of China's expanding ambitions, especially around the South China Sea. And countries like Malaysia have often looked to Washington to safeguard security. But the upending of trade and diplomatic norms caused by the US tariffs has changed all that. Rob McBride, Al Jazeera, Putrajaya, Malaysia.
That brings us to the end of this edition. However, before we go, let us take a look again at the headlines. Visit Rwanda and Paris Saint-Germain have renewed their transformative partnership through to 2028, building upon the successful collaboration launched back in 2019. Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente has presided over the official launch of the findings from the 7th Integrated Household Living Conditions Survey here in Rwanda. And on the international scene, the UN says fighting in South Sudan has killed nearly 200 people since March, warning that the country is on the verge of civil war. I'm glad you are able to join us, and I hope you will stay with Rwanda Television as the programs continue. As usual, I'll be seeing you soon. Goodbye.